some pizza delivered, thanks to our big boss man down the hall. Shout out to Kevin. He's awesome. So luckily I was able to stay inside the office, not have to worry about driving around with the snow out there. I can just leave at 5 p.m. like I usually do. Hope that it doesn't snow then either. Hopefully it's all clear by then. Anyway, it's Peaches here. It's pre-Friday, a.k.a. Thursday. It's January 8th, 2026. I was reading this article before the show started. Our fantasy football league ended. I came in second. I don't know if I talked about that on the show previously or not, but yeah, I lost in the championship game against one of our sales guys, Jacob. His team just went off the rails. His team really, really fought hard and beat my team. I went 10-3 in our league. I think he was like, what was it again? Like 9-4, maybe. I think it was like 8-5 actually. Like his team wasn't that good compared to mine during the regular season, but they just came together during the playoffs and Jacob won. So his office, he'll be getting the fantasy football trophy that we have here in the studio, courtesy of my parents. I have to get a nameplate with Jacob's name, Jacob's team name, and the year and all of that to put on this coveted Riverbend Red Zone trophy that we have here in the building. So there's that. But I think the person that came in last place being Maddie Kidd, Mad Dog, who's been on the show a couple of times, her team sucked the entire season. She didn't pay attention. She didn't care. She just wanted to be a part of the league because she didn't want to miss out. So her team went 1-12, I think. Something awful. She only won one game, and that was actually against the guy who won the league, Jacob. Well, I think the punishment was set up by Kevin, the big boss man, was that the loser of the league has to go on to all radio stations here in the building and proclaim that they are indeed a fantasy football loser, which I don't think Maddie would fight against. I think she would actually do that. I don't know if we're going to try to orchestrate that whole thing or whatnot. At least it's not too bad of a punishment, right? At least it's not like this guy who lost his fantasy football league. His name's Gabe. I guess the punishment for his league is that the loser of the league has to eat 71 hot dogs to match Joey Chestnut's record. I don't think he has to do it in 10 minutes like Joey Chestnut did, because you might end up with a dead friend if all of a sudden, he just drops dead from all that food. But can you imagine eating 71 hot dogs? I can barely stomach like 2 or 3. When it comes to hot dogs, I'm not necessarily a fan at all of hot dogs. It has to be covered in like chili, cheese, onions, in order for me to really scarf down on some glizzies, Joey Chestnut is an animal. He's the best eater of all time. Dude has won so many different food eating contests. I wonder why they came up with that, or how they came up with that. Do you think maybe his friends were like, him and all of his friends were gathered on the 4th of July watching the Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest, and they're like, you know what? For fantasy football this season, the loser has to do what Joey Chestnut does. Something like that. But Gabe, the guy who is in charge of eating the 71 hot dogs, his plan of attack is to do it over the span of a week. That breaks down to just over 10 hot dogs per day for 7 days. I feel like you should just elongate it to 3 weeks. 10 hot dogs per day. By the second day, dude, you're already going to be wanting to raise the white flag, I feel like. Anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. It is Peach's Pip Party. Victor, stupidly, forgot to give away tickets this morning for Ghost at the Delta Center, February 10th. I think he was too busy thinking about his new marriage. So there's that. But this afternoon, I'll be giving away 2 pairs of tickets to go see Ghost live at the Delta Center. Listen extra carefully for that cue to call. We'll play that game with Josh and Chantel. They read lyrics. You got to let me know what lyric that song is from. And be caller 20, of course, be caller 20. Guess the song lyric, win those tickets. I always butcher trying to explain that giveaway. I'll be back here in just a few with some more random crap to talk about on K-Bear 101. So this popped up from East Idaho News, and I just want you to mentally prepare yourself for how absolutely earth-shattering this is. A new review says that a lot of people who stop taking those GLP-1 weight loss drugs gain the weight back within a couple of years. Yeah, let that sink in. You're telling me that if someone stops taking a medication designed to suppress appetite, slow digestion, and help regulate blood sugar, and then goes right back to living exactly how they were living before, the weight might come back? Wow. This is up there with discovering fire or realizing touching a hot stove hurts. Truly brave science right here. Here's the part that gets me. The tone of these headlines is like, doctors are stunned. No, they aren't. Nobody's stunned. Literally nobody. This is not a plot twist. This is basic cause and effect. Weight loss drugs are not magic spells. They're not permanent cheat codes. They're not a set it and forget it subscription where your body just agrees to stay the same forever out of politeness. If someone goes sedentary again, eats the same way they used to, and stops the medication, the body goes, cool, we're back to normal operations. And that doesn't mean the drugs don't work. They clearly work while you're on them. That's the part people love skipping. It's like being shocked that your lawn grows again after you stop mowing it. Guys, the grass is back. Yes, that's how time works. The wildest thing is this gets framed like some massive warning instead of common sense. It says here, many people who come off GLP-1 drugs regain weight within 2 years. Obviously, people should just get off the weight loss drugs. I mean, if you prescribe them by a doctor, that's one thing. But if you're just doing it because you want to lose the weight, how about going old-fashioned? Exercise, eat right. Pretty soon, you'll be skinnier. So I didn't realize iHeartRadio does their own music awards. I thought they did something award-wise, but it only went to pop artists because that's really all they care about. All their stations are pop stations for the most part. You get some alternative in there, but it's not even real alternative. It's like on Alt 98.7, LA's biggest alternative station. They play Harry Styles as it was. Like, that's how poppy they get over there. But they have this iHeartRadio Music Awards. And I guess for Best New Rock Artist, Architects has been nominated for that award, which Architects has been around for 2 decades now. The band will contend alongside Poppy, Return to Dust, Sleep Theory, and Spirit Box within this category. I would say the newest band on that lineup is Sleep Theory, right? How long has Return to Dust been around? Can I Google search that real fast? Return to Dust. They've been around since they formed in 2022, so that's really recent. I feel like Sleep Theory is even older than that, so Return to Dust might be. Yeah, they formed in 2019, Sleep Theory. So, yeah, Return to Dust 2022. Architects, when did they form? Because I know they've had albums out for quite some time. They've been formed since 2004. They've been a band since 2004. 22 years. And they're up for an award for Best New Rock Artist. Shows you that award shows are completely a joke. So get this, in a very surprising turn of events in tech news, there's now a feature called ChatGPT Health that's literally designed so you can hook up your actual medical records to an AI that sometimes makes things up. A product that says, hey, let's upload your sensitive medical history, and then invites the same kind of algorithm that has been known to confidently fabricate details it wasn't even asked about. The kind of thing where it tells you stories that sound believable but have no grounding in reality. Sounds like the perfect place to keep your lab results. What could go wrong, right? I mean, when you're thinking about your health, what you really want is a chatbot that's been trained to guess facts based on patterns from a trillion lines of texts and sometimes just flat out invent things. It's sort of like asking your uncle who watches 5 hours of conspiracy videos a day for medical advice, only this one has fancy encryption and a logo. and don't worry, they'll explain it to you real nice. This isn't a replacement for a doctor. Great reassurance right there. ChatGPT Health. You're basically encouraged to hand over your health data so an AI can give you personalized answers that may or may not be based on actual evidence. Think of it as healthcare meets creative writing. I feel like that's the perfect way to put it. The men's basketball team of Bellarmine University, I believe that's how you say the school name. I apologize if I butchered it. Bellarmine University in Louisville, Texas. I know people pronounce it as Louisville, like it's one syllable. Louisville, Kentucky has found a way to boost attendance at games where when students are off on winter break, free beer That's right. The team is offering free beer plus ice cream to Bellarmine students at tonight's Atlantic Sun Conference home opener against Central Arkansas. Students may redeem up to 3 free items while supplies last, but beer will only be available, obviously, to students aged 21 and over. I feel like something horrible is about to go wrong. The place is about to be overcrowded. You're about to have people causing chaos, and there's going to be some follow-up story about how like a bunch of people got arrested because they got into fights and all of that. Now that the fantasy football season is over, you heard me talk about this when I began the show at 2 p.m. this afternoon. It's time for cruel fantasy football punishments to begin. This TikTok user, Gabe, came in last in his league, and his punishment is to eat 71 hot dogs to match Joey Chestnut's 4th of July hot dog eating contest number. Fortunately, Gabe doesn't have to eat all of them in one sitting because, like I mentioned before, the dude could potentially die from eating that much food all at once. But he can have them as his only meal until he reaches 71, and he has to eat them in the style of Chestnut along the way. That's still risky, which means he can't blend them with another food. Good luck to Gabe on that. I'm hoping that he's able to survive that entire thing. The NFL is the most watched sport in the United States, and the just finished regular season was its most watched since 1989. An average of nearly 19 million viewers took in NFL games in 2025, second only to the 1989 season, which finished with 19 million. This one finished with about 18.7 average viewers across all games as a stat that was only started in 1988. Average viewership rose 7% from 17.5 million fans in 2024. Pretty cool, right? That is it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. I have mentioned many times how much I hate politics, but this one is just too good not to talk about. The Department of Health and Human Services just rolled out a brand new set of national dietary guidelines that hold your seat. Ready? Basically, flip the food pyramid on its head, literally. The old one where grains were at the bottom and fats were at the top, gone. Now you've got red meat, cheese, vegetables, fruits, the whole, quote, real food gang up at the tippy top. The administration is calling it a monumental historic reset of U.S. nutrition policy. I guess that's what you get when you let a politician redesign something that was never supposed to be like a board game piece, right? The update encourages Americans to eat more protein, include good old saturated fats, and basically tell added sugars and processed junk to take a hike. They even decided to end what they call the war on saturated fats, which from the outside looking in sounds a bit like they handed butter a victory speech, right? The whole keto diet craze, that whole thing. The guideline authors say that highly processed foods are a big part of America's chronic disease problem, which is fair enough. And that people should focus on whole foods. That's the official language now, whole foods, as if your grocery store has a VIP section labeled beware of the processed stuff. Critics, including nutrition experts who actually study this stuff for decades, are just scratching their heads. They're saying this new top-heavy pyramid full of red meat and full-fat dairy goes against years of dietary evidence and could blunt decades of public health advice. This is the same advice they used to tell you to limit saturated fats, not invite them to the party, right? It's all so confusing. It really is. There's tons of different articles out there telling you a wide variety of things, like you shouldn't eat breakfast. Oh, no, you should eat breakfast. We were told many times growing up it's the most important meal of the day. You should have 3 square meals a day. Then there's people out there that say, oh, I only eat 1 meal a day because someone else said it was good for me. All right? I feel like just everyone's body is different. There's no one ideal answer for everyone, I should say. One ideal thing, just eat what you like. As long as, like, it goes back to common sense. Fruits and vegetables, good for you. All right? Eat those. So Papa Murphy's just got named the #1 pizza chain in America for customer service, which is impressive, especially when you remember Papa Murphy's entire business model is, here's your pizza, now you go cook it. And don't get me wrong, I like Papa Murphy's. But it's wild how this works. People absolutely lose their minds when an iPad asks for a tip. Full-on outrage, right? Why am I tipping for this? This is ridiculous. Society is broken. If I have to stand to get my order taken, I'm not tipping. But those same people will walk into a take and bake pizza place, order a pizza, take it home, preheat their own oven, bake it themselves, clean up afterward, and still leave a tip. No anger, no hesitation. An iPad asking for $1 is apparently crossing the line. A pizza place saying, "You're the chef now." Totally, totally fine. You know what? I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying that atrocious candle from Bath & Body Works, the one that went viral. They had a little series going on where I don't know who thought of this and who said it was okay for them to produce this type of candle or these, I was about to say flavors, these scents of candles. Chips and salsa was one of them. Pizza and ranch. I think there was like cotton candy and something else. And what else was there? There was like dill pickle something. But anyway, the pizza and ranch one was the one that was the most controversial. And luckily, I was able to smell it because they had it in stock at the Idaho Falls Bath & Body Works. And so I sniffed it, and it really did smell like ranch. It wasn't anything to complain about. Like, it just smelled like ranch. I don't know who would want to light that candle up and just have their whole place smell like ranch. I did smell the chips and salsa one. They got it down to a T. They had that one smelled exactly like chips, just tortilla chips. I would say the more gross candles from Bath & Body Works are those coffee-smelling ones or those extreme chocolate-smelling ones. They used to have one called Paris Cafe that was awful. I mean, it was disgusting how bad that one smelled. It was like coffee with, I don't even know what else was in there, but that was potentially the worst candle I've ever smelt from Bath & Body Works, even with chips and salsa and the pizza and ranch one. And now it looks like Bath & Body Works is no longer going to produce those candles because it became such a viral, controversial thing. But I did see chips and salsa is available on the website right now for $8. I might just get it just as a gag, like a literal gag, like, just light up a candle, have your whole place smell like chips and salsa. At least it's not pizza and ranch. All these rumors about Grand Theft Auto 6 are becoming rather annoying because everyone's just spewing off nonsense, and they're even using ChatGPT to generate different GTA rumor articles and putting them out there. So some people believe they're real. Others, like me, of course, are like, hey, that's AI slop, that whole thing. But Rockstar has now confirmed certain GTA 6 leaks on social media were real. Some developers were fired as a result, and key leaks lined up with their dismissals. I just saw one recently about how GTA 6 might be delayed again. How that it's most likely not going to come out in November of this year, which, I mean, it'll come out when it comes out. I'll believe it when I see it, type of thing. Full details of the leaks are posted at dexerto.com if you want to see all about it, if you really want to know all about it. There are over 700 stores, including malls. They'll be robbable. When it comes to locations, the leaker shared little detail but claimed Grand Theft Auto 6 will include, some male strippers. Yeah, suggesting strip clubs won't be limited to female dancers. All right, that's a leak. In case you really wanted to know, that's going to be a thing in GTA 6. Again, Dexerto, DEXERTO.com. They have the full list there on their website if you want to take a look at it. Hey, I just want to remind you that there are so many ways to listen to us. We have the free app, which obviously you can download onto your phone, available for iPhone and Android. There's also your Google Home device. There's also your Amazon Alexa. You can just tell either one to say, hey, play K-Bear 101. And we'll start playing off of that. It's also very easy to listen to us via your desktop at work, at home, wherever. You can actually type in kbear.fm. It'll take you to the proper page. You then scroll down a little bit, press play right there on the player. You can listen to us that way. Again, kbear.fm. Listen to us any way you want. We appreciate it. Today's What the Headline takes us to Thailand, where police arrested this fortune teller after he allegedly stole a woman's phone in order to prove his own prediction. A 19-year-old woman near a temple, she stopped near a temple, felt bad for this poorly dressed fortune teller offering readings. He pulls out a deck of cards, tells her she's about to experience bad luck, including losing something valuable. Then he very helpfully offers to protect her from this fate for a fee, of course, because, it's all a scam. She says no, goes inside the temple to pray, comes back out, and surprise, her iPhone is gone. Yeah, she confronts the fortune teller who denies stealing it, instead says, see, My prediction came true. Bold strategy right there. He even starts describing what the thief supposedly looks like, which is a wild move when the stolen phone is in your bag. Luckily, she wasn't buying it, caused a scene. People searched his stuff, found the phone. Police arrested him on the spot. So yeah, turns out he was psychic. He just forgot the part where predicting a crime doesn't mean you should commit it yourself. That's not fortune telling. That's just theft with extra steps. It really is hard to believe that 2016 was 10 years ago. David Bowie died 10 years ago this Saturday, January 10th, 2016, just 2 days after his 69th birthday and the release of his latest album, Black Star. He succumbed to liver cancer. Isn't it weird how sometimes celebrities die like that? It'll be like a grand finale of sorts, and then they just pass away right afterwards, like Ozzy. He had the Back to the Beginning concert, and then shortly after passed away. I'm just glad he got to see his whole life celebrated with that. The Ultimate Warrior, the wrestler, he had this big speech. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. He passes away, like right after. David Bowie was one of the most important figures in music history. Rose to prominence in 1969 with that hit that I'm about to play for you, Space Oddity, having adopted the surname Bowie to avoid confusion with Monkey singer Davy Jones. He was born David Robert Jones. Wow, 10 years ago already. Here's David Bowie right now, Space Oddity, to sort of celebrate, to commemorate his death. That's the word that I was looking for. I completely forgot to record my To Peach Their Own break, but I overall asked the question, is golf a sport? There was this in-office debate about that whole thing, and there were so many people here in the building going back and forth. I figured I would ask the K-Bear Rock Army. Here are some of the responses I got for that question. K-Bear, what's happening?
Hey, golf is not a sport.
All right, so you agree with me.
I do. Golf is not a sport.
Right, and why do you think that too?
I don't feel like there's any athleticism involved. Just like you said, John Daly is definitely not an athlete.
Right, man. Right. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I appreciate your vote. I'll write it down here under no.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds good.
Hey, you have a good one.
You too.
K-Bear, how's it going?
Well, hey, how are you doing?
Doing great. What's your answer for is golf a sport?
So it's debatable depending on who you are. But I would just say this. A sport is a place of competition, correct?
True.
So if a sport is a place of competition, then if golf is involving competition, then it's a sport. If you're just playing with maybe some friends, then it's not. It's kind of like if you're an athlete, I play foosball.
I was thinking about it, like based off of that, like that would also consider like somewhat professional chess a sport too.
Right. So I mean, is athleticism a requisite to being a sport? And I think that's what you got to ask yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I think if that's the case, then maybe it's only if there's competition, then it's a sport. Like, I mean, hey. Even work can be a sport if you're competing with someone else.
Yeah, I'm seeing here the definition of sport, an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
So is gaming a sport?
I mean, there's physical exertion. there's mental toughness there.
And I mean, even skill because it's hand-eye coordination.
Right.
And so, ergo, then a ping pong player is now a sportsman.
Yeah, maybe competitive eating too.
I mean, if a ping pong guy is a sport, then golf is a sport, right?
Right. Okay. All right.
Now, I don't want to call golfers athletes.
There's some of them that are like, why are you this buff for this sport? And then there's also guys that you're like, okay, you wouldn't succeed at anything else besides this if it wasn't like a 55 plus leisurely activity.
Right. So I would say that the need for an athletic body has a lot of places in life. To be athletic and be an athlete as your body style, that's not the same as playing a sport.
Would that make
I can have a
John?
I can have a very athletic. I can have a very athletic body, and I'm a framer. Right?
Would that make John Daly a professional athlete?
Ooh, it makes his maybe it makes his body athletic, but he ain't an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, he's a relatively good-looking dude. Like, but I mean, is he competing with people on the news? Maybe that's a sport nowadays,
right? Well,
you know, like what isn't? That's the real question. What isn't a sport? Because the very definition of almost capitalism would be competition. Mm-hmm. So what isn't a sport? Like almost you guys in a radio place competing with each other about viewers or, you know, YouTubers or anyone that needs a viewer. That's a competition and almost a sport because it's also involving entertainment, and sports often involve that as well.
I wonder if that makes me an athlete. I'm just kidding.
Well, now we've discerned the difference between having an athletic body. Now, I haven't met you, and you can make that decision. I'm going to call you unathletic.
Hey, sure. Competing against Victor, I feel like I could beat that dude in any athletic event.
Vocally competing with Victor is a sport.
Hey, thanks for holding. What's going on?
Hey, Peaches, and Jason.
What's going on, Jason? Do you have an answer for this question today?
Yeah. I think I got to disagree with you on this one, Peaches.
Okay.
I do think golf should be considered a sport. I feel the same way about billiards. I'm on a pool league, and I figure if it involves balls and equipment, and you got to have some kind of eye-hand coordination. It might not be as physical, but I think they should still be considered sports.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think, because I just had this in-depth conversation with another listener that he was talking to me about the definition of sport and all of that stuff, and I was just thinking, I'm like, but the way he was putting it, it's more so like anything. His definition would make everything a sport. Like mostly anything with competition would be a sport, like competitive chess or gaming, playing Fortnite against somebody else. Like that would be somewhat considered a sport.
Well, I don't know about that.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I think ball's got to be involved somehow.
Ball's got to be involved. I like that. K-Bear, what's up?
Hey, Peaches, I was going to reply to your Peach Their Own question. Yeah, I started golfing 2 years ago, and I think it depends upon how you want to take part in it. If you want to be a weekend warrior that goes out and basically rides around in a golf cart and drinks beer, then I'd have a hard time calling it a sport. But if you want to take it seriously, you know, if you go out and walk an 18-hole golf course, you're walking almost 8 miles.
True.
And then the physical fatigue of it and the mental fatigue of it is a lot more than most people understand. And then as far as the competition, you know, if you're playing around with a group of 4, or you've got the competition there, but then you also have the competition in your own mindset because it's you against the course. So I played baseball and I played football and all those sports. I played baseball all the way until I was 28 years old. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you right now, golf is the hardest thing I've ever done as far as a sport. The mental thing that you have to do, there's a million things that can go right or wrong, and there's only about 3 or 4 things that can go right. And that's on every single swing. You know what I mean? So I would have to disagree with you and say that, in my opinion, it is definitely a sport.
All right. Well, awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for that vote. I'll definitely put that on the sheet here.
All right. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Thank you. A very, very, very good to Peach Their Own today. I was happy to see that. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.